What's up guys, it's Cam coming at you from the 2-6. Welcome back to CFR. Today we're going over something that has been requested numerous times and I have put a lot of thought into this, so I hope that you really enjoy it. This is my top 10 most complimented designer fragrances of all time. Now this was one hell of a list to have to put together. I easily probably could have had like part 2 and part 3, but I think that would be cheating a little bit. I actually had to sit and like, how did it really play out with this one and that one? So this is my very best of my designers, and I'm also going to follow up with a niche most complimented as well. That was really the only way that I could do this without just like a cluster of chaos. Without no further ado, let's get it rolling. Compliments are not just going to be tossed out at you because of the fragrance you wear. If you have an outgoing personality, if you are smiling, if you're approachable, if you're taking care of yourself, obviously, you know, you want to be smiling and coming at somebody and you haven't washed for 3 days, or you haven't clipped your fingernails and you got like all kinds of gunk under your fingers and stuff like that. And that's coming from somebody who uses their hands all the time. I get grease up underneath my fingernails and it's rough getting it all out, but just do it, you know. It's things like that that make the difference, and these compliments are 100% based off of women's reactions. So I mean, that kind of helped a little bit because there are certain DNAs that women just love. So time for me to shut up. Let's get to number 10. Coming in at number 10 will be no surprise to many of you. Y'all know it's the king of date night. It is Dolce & Gabbana, the one eau de parfum. Now, people have talked about the EDT and even the parfum, and even in smell and rate videos and comparisons, you know, first impressions, the majority of people are going to lean towards the eau de parfum. I don't have the EDT in my collection anymore, but this one did really, you know, there was a difference. It might be in my mind. I don't know if you can actually like have something in your mind that you're getting more compliments. So maybe I was just paying attention to it more, but I do think that people really lean towards the eau de parfum. And for the difference in the price, there's not that much difference. This one does really garner compliments and perfect for date night. Some of the notes in this one are orange blossom, tobacco, cardamom, and cedar. And of course, for those of you who are not familiar with different note breakdowns, if a prominent note in cardamom for whatever reason is in this style of DNA, it is going to yield the attention from the ladies. Just like ambroxan, there's certain notes that women sort of gravitate towards. Cardamom is one of them, and this one is done very well. You want me to do it? The Matthew McConaughey? All right. Coming in at number 9 is, this one was, I don't know. I had to really think about which fragrance just was the most pleasing to women, and it is from a long line of fragrances that have been lady killers for years and years. I'm talking about Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gio, and this one is the Absolute. Now I know some people will argue with me that like Absolute was a weak release. Some of you will agree with me. I've seen people talk about this in the comments with me before, like saying they've had the same results, positive results. No, it's not overly complicated. It's not deep. You wouldn't think that this would be the type of fragrance that women would really be like, oh man, you smell so good, or come up and hug on you, or, you know, nestle their nose up against your neck or whatever. But yes, it does. Especially for like this time of the year, you know, when it's getting warmer. This is a type of fragrance that's just a super easy fragrance to wear, but it's going to have that sex appeal. It's got a fruitiness about it. Of course, it's got like aquatic or marine note, and then it has some woody notes, which like I said is not complicated, but it does work. Some of the notes in this one are geranium, bergamot, lavender, woods, tonka bean, and marine notes. Before I get into number 8, I have to back up and think about the OG. I'm actually going to mention it because it has garnered a lot of compliments, but I haven't worn this fragrance in a really long time. I'm talking about Paco Rabanne's 1 million. I have seen people starting to talk about this one again, and there was like a burnout on this. A lot of people were wearing this fragrance. They thought it was, you know, kind of childish or youthful, maybe a little too youthful, you know, kind of has a little bubble bubblegum thing. But listen, if you are, you know, like 17, 18 to mid 20s, and of course on up, but this one is one of those youthful fragrances that really gets the ladies' attention, a lot of attention. I could sit here and just make a video out of stories about this one, but I haven't worn it in so long, they would be kind of outdated. I don't know how well that you can actually see this, but you will see that this one is pretty much Dunyan rings. So what did I pick for number 8? You can probably guess it. 1 Million Lucky, with that big old dent that I'm so proud of, because I went bonkers when this thing went out. There's not very many fragrances that I just really love myself, and then I get that much attention from other people as well. Now, it's not all about attention all the time, but being that we're talking about compliments in this video, let's go ahead and talk about the compliments on this one. I have got some really drastic reactions from this fragrance. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Some of the notes in this one are grapefruit, plum, honey, and hazelnut. Now, of course, when you think about a fragrance that has like honey, plum, and hazelnut, those are traditionally going to be more of like cooler weather fragrance notes. But the way that they blended this, and as you can see, it's not super dark, and I know that don't always have anything to do with it. I've got like different batches of Tobacco Vanille from like 2011, 2016, 2013. They all have different coloration to them. But this is a little bit of an indication that it's not quite as heavy. This one can be pulled off in mildly warmer weather. Spring is fine for this fragrance. Fall is fine for this fragrance. And yeah, it depends on what you like to wear in the wintertime. You could wear this too. It's dark enough. It does have that gourmandish vibe, almost like a little bit of that bubblegum, I guess. I don't really get all that. I guess kind of a candy-ish type vibe or whatever, but women absolutely adore this fragrance. Coming in at number 7, for those of you who are not new to the FragCom or watching fragrance reviews, you'll know that this one right here is Yves Saint Laurent La Nuit de l'Homme. Jeremy Fragrance probably is the reason that a lot of guys bought this one. I happened to smell this fragrance. I believe I even bought this fragrance before he started reviewing it, but he talked about this one a lot. So this wound up being in a lot of people's collection, and especially when he was talking about his girl Lara, I think he pronounces it Lara. He actually had it as one like to spray on the bed sheets. That's actually a pretty good tip. I have tried that myself, and it does smell really nice. There's something very sensual about this fragrance, and it does have that note of cardamom that I was talking about that was also in the one. But what really makes this fragrance unique is the contrast of freshness in the opening with all the spiciness and the woodiness that develops in it as it starts to dry down. This makes this a very sensual and seductive fragrance that women cannot help but just compliment you and get very close, especially when, you know, in an intimate situation. The primary notes in this one are cardamom, cedar, and coumarin, but it's done really well. Coming in at number 6 is the OG of the blue fragrances, but I still think it's probably the best blue fragrance in my personal opinion. It definitely is the most complimented blue fragrance. It is Chanel's Bleu de Chanel. I have talked to you guys about this fragrance at nausea probably. I told you that this is the fragrance I was wearing when I cut my son's umbilical cord. This is the last fragrance that my mother purchased for me before she passed away. But I also have, outside of those sentimental reasons, which would be completely separate from getting compliments, I also have some sentimental memories that are actually involved with a couple of women. And outside of them complimenting me, I have got a ton of compliments from other ladies. But there was one lady that I was dating back in 2016 and 2017 that just, if I wore anything besides this, she's like, why don't you have my fragrance on? She would stop by on her way to work every morning just to come by and give me another hug and kiss before she went to work. And she just said that she wanted this on her for the rest of the day. She would take it, she would spray it on one of my hoodies and steal it and take it and go, spray it on her clothes, spray it on her sheets, everything. This one actually probably, if she ever smells this fragrance again, it's gonna spark memories of me, but that's a good thing. That's what you want. This type of fragrance will sear memories in ladies' heads. Some of the notes in this one are nutmeg, ginger, cedar and sandalwood, grapefruit, pink pepper, and ambroxan. I was so busy sorting out different fragrances, I really wasn't paying attention to brands. So there are a few from Yves Saint Laurent in here. And it was really bad because I had to even separate certain fragrances from certain lines. And I'm talking about Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme Ultime. Y'all been seeing this one pop up on different channels. I've talked about it myself. And yeah, one of my thoughts was just to go with the original. But this one just outweighs it. Plain and simple. Yes, the L'Homme line itself has several fragrances that are mass appealing, compliment garnering, but this one actually, as you can see, I had it down here. Here's the original. This one actually has nudged it out as far as compliments. And of course, the more recent formulations of the regular L'Homme or the original L'Homme are not the same formulations of yesteryear, which sucks because it was a banger. It's still a banger, and the note that is prominent in that one as far as the spices is ginger, where this one also has some of the original DNA, but they added some rose to it. And as I've said before, I don't know if you're new to this channel, don't worry about the rose note. Trust me, it is not prominent, it's not jammy, it's not overly floral like feminine floral, not at all. If anything, I would describe this as fresh, spicy, and light florals. And as I was talking about some of those spices, like the ginger in the L'Homme, the ginger is also in this one, but you also have grapefruit, cardamom, cedar, and rose as some of the primary notes. But like I said, do not worry about that rose note. When things get opened back up, go out and smell it. Or go to today's sponsor, go to www.myfragrancesamples.com. Enter our discount code CFR15 for 15% off. They carry many of the Yves Saint Laurent line, as well as probably every single one of these fragrances that I'm showing you right now. So just in case if you're on the ropes, and especially if you can't get out to a department store where they carry fragrances like this. Now this one is getting a little bit harder to find, so I didn't actually go and fact check to make 100% sure that it was on the website, but this fragrance is still available at different discounters and is still available on Yves Saint Laurent's website. Okay, coming in at number 4, another one from Yves Saint Laurent. This one is Y Live. Now, I know some people have shat on this fragrance. I do think that some people have just taken assumption and ran with it. I wish that I would have had a camera with me when I took this to a hair salon where a lot, let's just say, it's very, very women or female heavy at a salon that I go to. Yeah, they absolutely went nuts. They were spraying it on their aprons, on their arms, on their necks, on their hands. Here, smell this, you smell it, no, you smell it. And actually, when I wear this out, it's the same type of reactions. This one has a youthful vibe. So any of you young guys that are looking for one of them Waka Flockas that are gonna get somebody's attention, I would highly recommend at least sampling Y Live. This is not overly complex. It's fresh, it's bright, it's crisp, and it's sweet. Some of the notes in this one are orange blossom, ginger, bergamot, sage, and juniper berries. Now, of course, I had to think about all of the Y line too. I know there's only 4, but the EDT is probably like the safe one. The EDP has a little more depth, but I can't wear it because there's something in there that just messes with my allergies. This one is the bad boy, the black sheep, if you will. And then of course, Oh Fresh is just gonna be exactly what it is. It's gonna be, oh, fresh. Either way, but anything from the Y line will work, but Y Live will get you live. Coming in at number 3 is actually a fragrance that I just used to categorize as my summertime shorts and t-shirt fragrance until I started getting a ton of compliments. It is Versace Pour Homme. Women adore this fragrance. This is probably going to be the cheapest fragrance that I have in this list that does not smell cheap, does not smell synthetic, and is almost guaranteed to get you compliments as long as you have an outgoing personality and so on and so forth. I don't know what it is about this fragrance, but it works. It really, really works. Now, there's not like that super seductive thing that goes on with this, but women like it. I would even dare to say that it's fine to wear on date night, but it would be like that date night, you know, at the beach or, you know, in a very casual situation. Yeah, you can wear, you know, first date. This would actually be like a safe first date fragrance. You know, if you're not sure how your girl's gonna react, she will more than likely like this. Just don't overspray it. It's not a heavy fragrance, but first date, you're gonna wanna dial it back just a little bit. You don't know if she's got allergies. You don't know if she doesn't like fragrance. Some women don't like fragrance, but the ones that do, they really find a man who wears them attractive. Some of the notes in this one are bergamot, neroli, clary sage, cedarwood, musk, and tonka bean. Very, very easy to wear. Very, very, very compliment garnering. Coming in at number 2, dun dun dun. This is going to ruffle some feathers, but hey, it is what it is. Ladies like what ladies like, and at the end of the day, some people wear fragrances for that. I've heard guys say, hey, I don't care what it smells like as long as I get compliments, I'm in on that. I don't really agree with that mentality, but at one time, this fragrance was pulling me a crap ton of compliments in, and there was one lady that I was involved with that I made sure that I wore it because she loved it so much. I am talking about Dior Sauvage, not sausage, fellas, Sauvage. Now, you know, if you guys like sausage, that's on you, that's okay, but yeah, tacos for me, no sausage. And ladies love Sauvage, plain and simple. Now this one is the Eau de Parfum, and yeah, EDT probably will be more attention grabbing, like if you're out and you're wanting to really project with your fragrance, yeah, you'll probably get more attention that way. But as far as like an intimate situation, date, a ball game, when you can get back to watching like live ball games in an actual stadium or arena or whatever, Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. This one is a little bit more mature, if that is even sayable. This is a little dialed back. It's creamy, and of course, you know, like the Eau de Parfum, sometimes, just depending on how it's formulated, is louder on certain fragrances than EDT, but the EDT on this one is much, much louder, maybe a little bit more youthful, but the Eau de Parfum, chick magnet, baby. That's all I can say. Some of the notes in this one are bergamot, Szechuan pepper, lavender, vanilla, and ambroxan. And of course, again, that ambroxan does work in a lot of fragrances. Not all of them. And like I said, again, I know there's a lot of people that at least claim that they hate this fragrance, but it does pull the compliments. Okay, out of the weeds and into number 1. And I'm sure there's probably some of you guys that know what my number 1 most complimented fragrance is. If you have paid attention to some of the fragrances that I've talked about, there is one fragrance that just rings true over and over and over again. And maybe, just maybe, might be my most complimented designer fragrance ever, forever. Unless something, you know, very, very unique comes out and does away with it, which I find hard to believe. I'll believe it when I see it. It is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Yes, this is that Waka Flocka. This is the one that works every single time. This is such a sexy fragrance. Again, I know some of you would disagree with me on this, but I am talking about my personal experience. And yeah, it is absolutely stunning the amount of attention that this fragrance has got me. Matter of fact, I will just put down in the description a video where I did a street reaction with this versus Office for Men from Jeremy Fragrance. Again, no knock to his fragrance. They were random street reactions, and that is like the proof in the pudding. That is the best proof that I have, just random people that I could talk to. Then you amplify that by exponential numbers for the amount of years that I've been wearing this fragrance. Some of the notes in this are mandarin, cypress, tonka bean, and musk. This is an amplified version of all the Allure DNAs, just taking the best thing from each one, putting it all together, amplifying it with that tonka bean that makes this thing sing in the wintertime, but yet it's still fresh and clean and bright enough to wear year-round. I don't know what else that I can say about this fragrance other than it's sexy, mass appealing as hell, and women freaking love this fragrance. If you guys would even be remotely interested in seeing like maybe one of the list of the runners up, I can do that for you. If you want to see that, just let me know down in the comments. If not, we will let the designer list stay as is until I can get the niche list out for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you as always for watching. I appreciate your support. Until next time, I'll see you on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.